I need you more than my billions, CEO confessed. Black Janitor said, money can't buy what I give. Isabella Sterling stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of her Manhattan penthouse office, watching the city pulse 40 stories below. As CEO of Sterling Industries, a tech empire worth $12 billion, she commanded respect from world leaders and fear from competitors. Yet tonight, staring at her reflection in the darkened glass, she felt utterly empty. Miss Sterling? A gentle voice broke through her thoughts. She turned to see Elijah Brooks, the night janitor, standing respectfully at her office entrance. I can come back later if you're busy. Isabella glanced at her Rolex, 11:30 p.m. Another 16-hour day in a string of endless 16-hour days. No, please come in. I was just thinking. Elijah moved quietly through her office, emptying trash bins with practiced efficiency. There was something calming about his presence. No demands, no urgency, no agenda beyond doing his job well. Long day? He asked kindly, noticing the scattered energy drink cans and untouched dinner on her desk. Isabella laughed bitterly. Long life, more like it. Sometimes I wonder what I'm building all this for. Elijah paused in his work, meeting her eyes with surprising directness. Begging your pardon, ma'am, but maybe you're asking the wrong question. What do you mean? Maybe it's not what you're building for, but who you're building with that matters. The simple wisdom hit Isabella unexpectedly hard. When had anyone last spoken to her as a person rather than a position? That's surprisingly profound, she admitted. Elijah smiled warmly. My grandmother always said money can buy you a house, but only love can make it a home. As he continued his work, Isabella found herself watching him. The careful attention he paid to every detail, the quiet dignity he carried, the peace that seemed to emanate from him despite his humble circumstances. Hello, my Stop Racism family. Thank you for tuning in today. Before we dive deeper into this beautiful love story, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your country and state in the comments below. Also, I'd love to know your thoughts. What did you think of the story so far? Do you believe love can truly conquer prejudice? Let us know in the comments. We love reading them. And trust me, your words motivate us to keep making these videos. Let's make this video reach at least 50 comments. Your support means the world to us, and it drives us to create even more meaningful content for you. So don't forget to comment, share, and keep spreading love. Isabella's penthouse apartment was a masterpiece of modern design, marble floors, designer furniture, priceless art. Everything perfect, everything cold. She stood in her walk-in closet, surrounded by thousands of dollars worth of clothing, preparing for another board meeting where she'd smile and pretend her life was exactly what she'd always wanted. Her phone buzzed with a text from her mother. Darling, the Ashworth boy is still interested. Harvard MBA, old money family, perfect match. When will you stop playing CEO and settle down appropriately? Isabella deleted the message without responding. Charles Ashworth III, handsome, wealthy, boring as watching grass grow. Her mother's definition of appropriate had always meant rich, white, and socially connected. She thought about Elijah's gentle question from the night before. Who was she building with? The answer was no one. Her executive team feared her, her board members tolerated her, and her social circle consisted of networking opportunities disguised as friendships. At the office, her assistant Maya briefed her on the day's schedule. The Brooks Family Charity Gala invitation came in. Your mother thinks you should attend with Charles. Decline it, Isabella interrupted. But your mother specifically requested. Maya, I'm 32 years old. I think I can decide my own social calendar. As Maya left, Isabella wondered when she'd become so sharp, so isolated. Success had cost her more than she'd realized, not just time and energy, but her ability to connect genuinely with another human being. That evening, she found herself staying late again, partly for work, but mostly hoping to see Elijah. There was something about their brief conversations that felt more real than anything else in her carefully constructed life. When he appeared at her door, she felt an unexpected lift in her spirits. Working late again, Ms. Sterling? Seems to be my specialty, she replied. Elijah, can I ask you something? Do you ever feel like you're living someone else's idea of your life? Elijah considered her question while organizing her bookshelf. I think we all wear masks sometimes, Ms. Sterling. The question is whether we remember who we are underneath them. And who are you underneath yours? Isabella asked, surprising herself with her boldness. Elijah smiled. A man who believes every person deserves to be seen for who they really are, not what they have or what they do for work. That's a rare perspective in my world. Maybe that's the problem with your world, Elijah said gently. Over the following weeks, Isabella found herself looking forward to these evening conversations. She learned that Elijah was studying business administration part-time, working toward his degree while supporting his younger sister through college. He volunteered at a community center on weekends, teaching financial literacy to families in his neighborhood. Why business? Isabella asked one evening. You could study anything. Because I want to start a nonprofit, Elijah explained. Help people in my community build generational wealth instead of just getting by paycheck to paycheck. Isabella was struck by his vision, using business principles to lift others up rather than simply accumulating personal wealth. That's incredibly noble, she said. It's not noble. It's necessary. When you grow up watching your single mother work 3 jobs just to keep the lights on, you understand that money isn't evil. The lack of opportunity is. For the first time in years, Isabella felt ashamed of her privileged complaints. Here was a man with real struggles, real purpose, real hope, and he radiated more contentment than she'd ever felt despite her billions. Elijah, would you like to have coffee sometime? I mean, outside of here, just to talk. Elijah studied her face carefully. Ms. Sterling, I appreciate the kindness, but I think we both know that's not a good idea. Why not? Because you're Isabella Sterling, and I'm the night janitor. Some boundaries exist for good reasons, but Isabella saw something in his eyes, interest, maybe even affection, that contradicted his words. Isabella's carefully ordered life shattered on a Tuesday afternoon when her CFO resigned unexpectedly, leaving her scrambling to prepare for a crucial investor presentation. By 9 p.m., she was still in her office, surrounded by financial documents, when the building's fire alarm began blaring. Evacuation was swift and efficient, but in the chaos, Isabella realized she'd left her laptop, containing 5 years of irreplaceable company data, in her office. Security wouldn't let anyone back inside until the all-clear. Miss Sterling? Elijah appeared beside her on the sidewalk, still wearing his work uniform. Are you okay? My laptop, Isabella said, feeling panic rise. Everything's on there. The presentation, client data, everything. Without hesitation, Elijah approached the security guard. Mike, I need to get back to the 40th floor for Ms. Sterling. Can't do it, Eli. Fire department says another hour minimum. Isabella watched in amazement as Elijah calmly negotiated with building security, his natural leadership evident even in uniform. Finally, he returned to her side. There's a cafe around the corner. Why don't we wait there? In the small cafe, away from the corporate setting, Isabella saw Elijah differently. He ordered for both of them, choosing items he somehow knew she'd like, creating a pocket of calm in her storm of anxiety. How did you know I like lavender tea? Isabella asked. You keep the packets in your desk drawer. Elijah smiled. I notice things. What else have you noticed? Elijah was quiet for a moment. I've noticed that you work yourself to exhaustion, that you eat lunch alone every day, that you get more genuine phone calls from your assistant than from friends or family. And I've noticed that despite having everything, you seem to have nothing that truly makes you happy. The observation was so accurate, it took Isabella's breath away. And what do you think would make me happy? She whispered. That's not for me to say, Miss Sterling, but I think you already know the answer. When they finally returned to retrieve her laptop, Isabella realized that the crisis had given her something more valuable than any business deal. 2 hours of genuine human connection. Isabella couldn't concentrate on her investor presentation. Every slide reminded her of Elijah's insights about using business for social good. Every financial projection felt hollow compared to his dream of helping his community. During the presentation, she found herself deviating from her script, talking about corporate responsibility and giving back to communities. The investors responded positively, but Isabella's heart wasn't in their approval anymore. That evening, she waited for Elijah with nervous energy. When he appeared, she was ready with a confession that had been building for weeks. Elijah, I can't stop thinking about you. He paused in his work, not meeting her eyes. Miss Sterling, Isabella, Please, just call me Isabella. Isabella, he said softly. This isn't wise. Since when has wisdom mattered to the heart? Isabella stood, moving closer to him. I know what you're thinking. I'm a billionaire CEO, you're a janitor. We're from different worlds, but when I'm with you, I feel more like myself than I have in years. Elijah finally looked at her, and she saw the same longing in his eyes that she felt in her heart. You don't understand what you're asking, he said quietly. You live in penthouses and boardrooms. I live in a one-bedroom apartment and take night classes. Your world would never accept someone like me. Then maybe it's time I found a new world. Elijah shook his head. Isabella, you can't just abandon everything you've built because you're feeling lonely. This isn't about loneliness. This is about finding someone who sees me, really sees me. Not my bank account or my position or my potential usefulness to their agenda. And when the novelty wears off, when you remember all the reasons why this doesn't make sense. Isabella stepped closer, her voice barely a whisper. What if it doesn't wear off? What if this is real? For a moment, they stood in the charged space between possibility and prudence. Then Elijah stepped back. I should finish my work. Isabella spent the weekend in her penthouse, staring at her phone and drafting a dozen unsent messages to Elijah. By Monday evening, she was determined to address the growing connection between them. She found him in the conference room, methodically cleaning the long table where she'd made countless million-dollar decisions. We need to talk, Isabella said, closing the door behind her. Isabella, please don't make this harder than it already is. Harder than what? Pretending we don't feel anything for each other? Elijah stopped working, his shoulders sagging slightly. You want to know the truth? Every night I come to work hoping you'll still be here. Every conversation we have makes me forget for a few minutes that we're from different worlds. And every morning I wake up knowing that caring about you is probably the biggest mistake I've ever made. Isabella's heart raced. Why a mistake? Because you're going to realize that dating a janitor, a black janitor, isn't worth the damage to your reputation, your business, your family relationships. And when that happens, I'll be left with a heart full of feelings for someone I can never have. What if you're wrong? What if I'm stronger than you think? Elijah finally looked at her, vulnerability written across his features. Isabella, I grew up watching my mother be dismissed by people like you, not because she wasn't smart or capable, but because she cleaned their offices and they couldn't see past the uniform. I swore I'd never put myself in a position to be someone's charity case or guilty conscience. Is that what you think this is? I don't know what this is. That's what scares me. Isabella moved closer, her voice gentle but firm. This is two people who see something real in each other. This is connection and understanding, and the possibility of something beautiful. Don't let fear of what might happen rob us of what could be. Elijah searched her face. And what exactly could be, Isabella? You think your board of directors will accept you dating the night janitor? You think your mother will welcome me to family dinners? I think, Isabella said, reaching for his hand, that their opinions matter less to me than your happiness and mine. For the first time, Elijah didn't pull away when she touched him. Isabella's private investigator delivered the background check on Thursday morning, a precaution her head of security insisted on for anyone in her personal life. The report on Elijah was impeccable. No criminal history, excellent credit, glowing references from employers and professors. But seeing his life reduced to bullet points on paper made Isabella feel sick. When had she become someone who investigated people instead of simply trusting them? That evening, she waited for Elijah with the report burning a hole in her briefcase. I did something terrible, she confessed as soon as he arrived. Elijah looked up from his cleaning cart, concern creasing his features. I had you investigated. Background check, financial history, everything. Isabella's voice was barely audible. My security team insisted, but that's no excuse. I violated your privacy because I was afraid of taking a risk on someone I'm falling in love with. Elijah was quiet for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was carefully controlled. What did you find out? That you're exactly who you've shown me you are. Honest, hardworking, ambitious, kind. But that's not the point. I should have trusted what I already knew instead of reducing you to data points on a page. Isabella, in your position, I understand why. No, she interrupted. Don't make excuses for me. This is exactly the kind of thing that proves I don't know how to have a real relationship. I'm so used to treating people like business transactions that I forgot how to simply trust someone. Elijah set down his cleaning supplies and faced her fully. Isabella, I'm not angry about the background check. I'm concerned about what it represents. You live in a world where everyone has an agenda, where trust is a luxury you can't afford. How do we build something real in that environment? We start over, Isabella said desperately. We pretend I'm not a CEO and you're not a janitor. We just be two people getting to know each other. But we can't pretend that, because it's not true. Your billions don't disappear because we ignore them. My night shift doesn't become a day job because we wish it were different. Isabella felt tears threatening. So, what are you saying? That this is impossible? Elijah stepped closer, his voice gentle. I'm saying that if we're going to try this, we have to be honest about the challenges. Your world won't accept me easily. My community might think I'm being used by a rich white woman. We'll face judgment from every direction. And despite all that, are you willing to try? Elijah cupped her face gently. Isabella, I think I'd rather face all of that with you than face a lifetime without you. Isabella's world began unraveling on a Friday morning when tabloid photos surfaced showing her and Elijah having coffee together. The headlines were predictably sensational. Billionaire CEO's secret romance with night janitor. And, from boardroom to broom closet, Isabella Sterling's shocking love life. By noon, her phone was ringing nonstop. Her mother's call was the one she dreaded most. Isabella Elizabeth Sterling, what in God's name are you thinking? Her mother's voice could have cut glass. The entire social circle is talking. Do you have any idea how this reflects on our family? Mother, I'm 32 years old. I think I can choose who I spend time with. Not when those choices affect Sterling Industries stock prices. Your board is already calling emergency meetings. Charles Ashworth specifically asked me if you've lost your mind. Isabella looked out her office window, seeing protesters gathered outside the building. Some supporting her right to love whoever she chose, others holding signs questioning her judgment and fitness to lead. Maybe Charles should worry about his own love life instead of mine. This isn't a joke, Isabella. You're putting everything at risk for some fantasy. After hanging up, Isabella sat in her office, watching the protesters and thinking about Elijah's warnings. He'd been right. The world wasn't ready for their love story. That evening, Elijah arrived for his shift to find security guards at every entrance, and photographers camped outside the building. I'm sorry, Isabella said as soon as she saw him. I never wanted this circus to touch your life. I knew this would happen eventually, Elijah said calmly. The question is, what do we do now? I don't know. My board is questioning my judgment. My family is threatening to disown me. The media is having a field day. Maybe everyone's right. Maybe I am being naive about this. Elijah was quiet, studying her face. Isabella, are you asking me to make this decision easier for you? What do you mean? Are you hoping I'll walk away so you don't have to choose between your comfortable life and something real but difficult? The question hit Isabella like a physical blow, because part of her was hoping exactly that. She started, then stopped. I don't know if I'm strong enough for this fight. Elijah nodded slowly. Then maybe you're not ready for what I have to give. How's this story hitting you so far? Tell us in the comments. If you're loving it, type 1. If not, type 0. We want to know what you think. Isabella spent the weekend in her penthouse, alternating between rage at the media invasion and terror at the thought of losing everything she'd built. By Sunday evening, she'd made a decision that felt like cutting out her own heart. She drafted a press release announcing that she and Elijah were just friends, and that the media had misconstrued a simple professional relationship. The words felt like ash in her mouth, but they would restore order to her carefully constructed life. Monday morning, she called Elijah before he could hear about the press release from anyone else. I need to see you, she said when he answered. Isabella, I've been thinking about our conversation Friday night. I think, please, just meet me. One last time. They met at the small cafe where they'd waited during the fire alarm, the place where Isabella had first seen Elijah as more than just the night janitor. I'm going to issue a statement, Isabella said without preamble, clarifying that we're just friends. It'll make everything go back to normal. Elijah was quiet for a long moment. And is that what you want? Normal? I want to stop being afraid, Isabella whispered. I want to stop feeling like I'm disappointing everyone I care about, including me. Isabella couldn't meet his eyes. Especially you. You deserve someone brave enough to fight for love. I'm not that person. Isabella, look at me. Elijah's voice was gentle but firm. What did I tell you that first night we really talked? Money can buy you a house, but only love can make it a home. You have billions of dollars, but what kind of home have you built? A lonely one, Isabella admitted. And what happens when you issue that press release? When you go back to your penthouse and your board meetings and your appropriate social circle? What kind of home will you have then? Isabella finally looked at him, tears streaming down her face. The same lonely one, but at least it'll be safe. Elijah reached across the table and took her hands. Isabella, I need you to understand something. I don't need your billions. I don't want to be taken care of or rescued or elevated to your social status. What I offer you can't be bought. Genuine love, real partnership is someone who sees your heart instead of your bank account. But everyone will think whatever they want to think, regardless of what we do. The question is, are you going to live your life for them or for yourself? Isabella stared into Elijah's eyes, seeing the love she was about to throw away out of fear. I need you more than my billions, she whispered, the words tumbling out before she could stop them. And money can't buy what I give, Elijah replied. But love isn't a business transaction, Isabella. It's a choice you make every day, especially when it's difficult. Isabella deleted the press release and called an emergency board meeting instead. Walking into that conference room felt like walking into battle, but for the first time in weeks, she felt clear about what she was fighting for. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, I'm sure you've all seen the media coverage of my personal life. I'm here to address your concerns directly. Board member Harrison Whitfield, a family friend since childhood, spoke first. Isabella, we're worried about your judgment. This relationship seems impulsive. What seems impulsive about falling in love with someone of good character who challenges me to be better? He's a janitor, Isabella, board member Patricia Morse said bluntly. How does that look for Sterling Industries? Isabella looked around the table at these people she'd known for years, wealthy, powerful, and utterly unable to see past their own prejudices. It looks like Sterling Industries is led by someone who values character over social status, substance over superficiality. If that's a problem for any of you, I accept your resignation. The room fell silent. Furthermore, Isabella continued, I'm implementing a new initiative using company resources to support educational programs in underserved communities. If we're going to be judged for my relationship, we might as well earn that judgment by actually making a positive difference. After the board meeting, Isabella drove to Elijah's community center, where she found him teaching a financial literacy class to a group of teenagers. She waited until the class ended, then approached him nervously. I told my board that if they can't accept my relationship with you, they can resign, she said. Elijah's eyes widened. Isabella, you could lose control of your company? I could, but I realized something. What's the point of controlling a company if I can't control my own life? What's the point of having billions if I don't have the courage to spend them on what actually matters? And what matters? Love, justice, using my privilege to lift others up instead of building walls around myself. You, Elijah, you matter most of all. Elijah pulled her into his arms, and for the first time in days, Isabella felt like she could breathe again. Are you sure about this? Really sure? Because once we're public, there's no going back to hiding. I'm sure, Isabella said, meaning it completely. I want to build something beautiful with, not just between us, but for the world. I want to use Sterling Industries to fund your educational programs. I want to prove that love really can change everything. 6 months later, Isabella stood before a crowd of 500 people at the grand opening of the Sterling Brooks Community Education Center. The building, funded by Sterling Industries and designed by Elijah's vision, would provide free GD classes, financial literacy training, and small business development programs. When I first met Elijah Brooks, Isabella told the crowd, he was the night janitor in my building, but he taught me that true wealth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in the lives we touch, the communities we build, and the love we share. In the audience, Isabella's mother sat beside Elijah's mother, the two women having formed an unlikely friendship over their shared love for their children. It had taken time, months of difficult conversations and gradual understanding. But even Isabella's family had come to see Elijah's genuine character. The media attention had eventually shifted from scandal to inspiration as people witnessed the positive changes in both Isabella's company culture and her personal happiness. Sterling Industries stock had actually risen as investors recognized the value of authentic leadership and social responsibility. After the ceremony, Isabella and Elijah walked through the center's classrooms together, watching students of all ages pursuing their educational dreams. "Any regrets?" Elijah asked, slipping his hand into hers. "Just one," Isabella replied. "I regret waiting so long to understand that love isn't about finding someone who fits your life. It's about building a life that makes room for love, even when that love comes from the night janitor." Isabella laughed, remembering how shocked she'd been by his wisdom that first evening. "Especially then, you taught me that the most valuable things in life can't be bought, only earned through character, kindness, and courage." As they watched an elderly woman in their literacy program sound out her first complete sentence, Elijah squeezed Isabella's hand. "This is what I meant about money not being able to buy what I give. Love, purpose, genuine connection. Those things have to be built from the heart." "And what are we building now?" Isabella asked. "A life," Elijah said simply. "A real life, with real love, making a real difference." 1 year later, Isabella and Elijah stood in the gardens of her family estate, surrounded by friends and family from both their worlds. The wedding was elegant but warm, expensive but meaningful, a perfect reflection of how they'd learned to blend their different backgrounds into something beautiful. As they exchanged vows, Isabella looked into Elijah's eyes and saw her future clearly for the first time in her life. "I promise to value your heart over my wealth," she said, "to choose love over fear, and to spend my life earning the gift of your partnership." "I promise to support your dreams while keeping you grounded," Elijah replied, "to love you for who you are, beneath all the success, and to remind you every day that the best things in life can't be bought, only shared." During their first dance, Isabella's grandmother approached the couple with tears in her eyes. "I owe you both an apology," she said to Elijah. "I spent months worrying about what people would think instead of seeing what was right in front of me. Two people who make each other better." "No apology needed, Mrs. Sterling," Elijah replied gracefully. "Love takes time to recognize, especially when it challenges what we think we know." As the evening wound down, Isabella and Elijah sat together on the terrace, watching their guests, CEOs and community center volunteers, trust fund beneficiaries, and night shift workers, all celebrating love's victory over prejudice. "Do you ever miss the simplicity of before?" Isabella asked. "When you were just the janitor and I was just the CEO?" Elijah considered the question. "I miss the simplicity, but I don't miss the loneliness. And I definitely don't miss watching you work yourself to death in that empty office. I was so empty then," Isabella reflected. "All those billions, and I was spiritually bankrupt. You showed me what real wealth looks like. We showed each other. You taught me that success and kindness don't have to be mutually exclusive, that sometimes the system can be changed from the inside by people brave enough to use their privilege responsibly." Isabella looked at her husband, brilliant, compassionate, the love of her life who'd walked into her world carrying a mop and bucket and somehow managed to clean the loneliness right out of her soul. "I love you, Elijah Brooks Sterling." "I love you too, Isabella Brooks Sterling. And I love the life we're building together, one student, one community center, one changed heart at a time." As they looked out over the gardens where their two families mingled freely, Isabella smiled. She'd learned that the most precious things in life couldn't be purchased with billions. Genuine love, authentic connection, and the joy of using wealth to lift others up rather than build walls. Their love story had started with a confession about needing someone more than money. It continued with the understanding that the greatest gifts, love, respect, partnership, purpose, could never be bought, only earned through character and shared through open hearts. in a world that too often equates worth with wealth. Isabella and Elijah had discovered a different kind of richness entirely. The wealth of love, the prosperity of purpose, and the abundance that comes from two hearts committed to changing the world together. Their billions were just a tool now. Their love was their true fortune,